At some point today, your mind was somewhere else entirely. Not here, not present. It was replaying something that already happened, or rehearsing something that hasn't happened yet. And here is what makes that strange. You probably didn't choose to go there. The mind simply went. And once it starts, it is surprisingly difficult to stop. Because overthinking never feels like a problem. It feels like thinking. It feels like you are being careful, thorough, responsible. But most of the time, you are simply trapped inside a loop. Overthinking has quietly become one of the most common mental habits of modern life. We analyze messages before sending them. We rehearse conversations before having them. We worry about outcomes we cannot control. And beneath all of it is one uncomfortable feeling: uncertainty. The mind treats uncertainty as a problem that must be solved. So whenever life feels unclear, it begins generating thoughts, and then more, as if thinking harder will somehow produce certainty. It rarely does. Psychologists describe overthinking as largely a control response, when the brain encounters an unanswered question, a conversation that ended awkwardly, a decision that has no clear right answer, a future that refuses to reveal itself. It does not simply accept the uncertainty. It keeps working, reviewing the past for clues, rehearsing the future for safety, looking for the thought that will finally bring relief. But relief rarely arrives through more thinking, because many of life's most important questions have no perfect answer. And so the cycle continues, mentally busy, but not actually moving. The brain was not designed for the modern world. It evolved to detect threats. And in that ancient environment, constant vigilance kept humans alive. But today, that same threat detection system responds to something very different. An unanswered message, a conversation that didn't go as expected, a future that feels uncertain. The brain registers these as unresolved problems and keeps returning to them. Not because the situation is worsening, but because attention itself feeds the loop. Every time you return to the thought, the brain interprets it as important. And so, it keeps bringing it back. Ancient philosophy offered an insight that modern psychology increasingly echoes. Not every thought deserves to be followed. Just because a thought appears in your mind does not mean it is important, and it certainly does not mean it is true. Yet most people move through life automatically believing every thought that arises, as if the mind is always reporting reality accurately. It is not. Awareness changes this. The moment you notice a thought, instead of becoming absorbed by it, a small but significant space opens. And inside that space, something quietly powerful becomes possible. Not suppression, not distraction, but genuine choice. The ability to observe a thought without being controlled by it. Perhaps the goal is not to eliminate overthinking entirely. Perhaps it is simply to recognize the moment thinking stops being useful and starts becoming noise. The mind will always generate thoughts. That is what minds do. But you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that notices them. And the moment you understand that distinction, something shifts. Not dramatically, not all at once, but quietly and genuinely. The mind has more layers than most people realize, and every week on this channel, we go a little deeper. If that interests you, subscribe to Awareness Abode. We are just getting started.